Good afternoon. Welcome to the August 21st, 2025 meeting of the Sacramento Area Flood Control Agency Board of Directors. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Thank you. Director Desmond?
Here.
Director Hume?
Here.
Director Kennedy?
Here.
Director Rodriguez? Director Cerna? Director Jennings?
Here.
Director Kaplan?
Here.
Director Pluckybaum? Director Holloway?
Present.
Director Johns?
Here.
Director Avdis? Director Baines? And Director Stevens.
Here.
We do have a, counting, 8-member quorum.
Great. Will you join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This meeting of SAFCA is being broadcast live at metro14live.saccounty.gov and will be re-aired on Metro Cable Channel 14 on Saturday, August 23rd at 2 p.m. Members of the audience who would like to address the board should fill out a speaker form and bring it to me. When addressing the board, please identify yourself for the record and speak directly into the microphone, and your comments will be limited to 3 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you. And we have one speaker slip for speakers off agenda, and that's Lisa Sanchez.
Okay, hello everybody. My name is Lisa, and I am coming here. I'm sure you recognize me from some of the things that I do around here. So again, thank you for everything that you do as well. I wanted to come and just give an update with 2 items that I would like to bring to your attention. First is going to be our interagency cleanup that we are doing this year, as we have done for many years prior, which will be held this year at Steelhead Creek. Dr. Roland Brady has solidified those dates from September 26th to October 2nd. Again, that's 7 days, and that'll include multiple agencies to bring equipment out. We, as volunteers, will, with River City Waterway Alliance, will be working to remove the trash and debris that's in the creek channel in a certain section that's already been identified, and then having the equipment haul the debris away. The reason why I wanted to let everybody here know is that the dates are going to be already solidified, that they're going to happen. And if there is any way, shape, or form to have other agencies come and be involved with the cost of the debris removal, I think last year we removed over 100,000 pounds of debris in one little area within that 7-day stretch. So that's just a drop in the bucket of what's really there. But the other thing I wanted to discuss is to hopefully rejuvenate some interest or in the past about invasive species removal with SAFCA. I have read online that there was a number of projects of invasive species red sesbania that had been done back in 2008. There was something in 2014/15. There was something to do with a budget item that helped with removal of the red sesbania, mainly Steelhead Creek, because that is the salmonid channel that helps them get up to Dry Creek for spawning, so that is our #1 priority. But also Robla Creek is a big one. It is completely lined like a grove of red sesbania. Robla Creek isn't too big of a deal, but because those seeds float down, and I think they are really like the hub of everything downstream from that, it's just causing chaos, everything. So we got to start somewhere, and we're hoping to reinvigorate the talks about invasive species removal. As we have with trash, in certain areas we have reduced our trash level so we can start concentrating on invasive species, which is the goal to, make all of our waterways healthy and amazing again. And that's part of that. So again, the project of inviting you all to maybe more projects for that. So thank you so much. I appreciate all of your work, and have a great day.
Thank you. Don't go away. Director Avdis.
Yeah, thanks. I want to extend my appreciation for you coming today and speaking. As someone who lives right adjacent to Steelhead Creek, I have a firsthand look every day at the extent of the invasive species, but also the extent of trash. And as a representative of our RD1000, I want to extend our continuing commitment to partner with you folks for the cleanups, and would appreciate perhaps a conversation after this meeting. I'd love love to chat with you about some thoughts I have on that end. So,
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
And Water Primrose, not just Sesbania, just saying.
And if we go to your website, can we get more specific information on the cleanups as far as exactly location? Is there a breakdown of what agencies are doing what days? Or is there any of that information?
Oh, so for the interagency
Yeah.
cleanup specifically, we have the events up there for people, volunteers, but we haven't made a point to identify everyone yet. I'll talk to Roland and David about that so we can put that up there or send you the information to know. They know more about the inside details
Yeah.
about that than I do specifically. But we would, again, love to have more involvement.
There's
So,
probably
yes.
some members up here, myself included, that would like to participate. So
Oh, great.
The more specific information you could send us, that'd be great.
Absolutely, you got it.
All right? Thanks,
Okay,
thanks,
thank
Lisa.
you.
Okay, next item, please.
Our next item is closed session, and directors will recess to hearing room 2.
Thank you. Then we are in recess. We'll call this meeting of the Sacramento Area Flood Control Agency Board back to order. Would the clerk please call the roll to reestablish quorum?
Thank you. Director Desmond? Director Hume? Director Kennedy?
Here.
Director Rodriguez? Director Cerna? Director Jennings? Director Kaplan? Director Pluckybaum? Director Holloway? Director Johns? Director Avdis? Director Baines? Director Stevens?
Here.
We do have a 10-member quorum.
Thank you. Council, is there anything to report out of closed session?
Nothing reported this time.
Thank you. Next item,
Our
please.
next item are consent matters, and items 1 through 8 are in order.
Chair Kennedy, before we move on with consent, on item number 6, the clerk has provided a red line for the amendment that we're requesting for that item, 6A. For that resolution, we're asking that it be $5 million rather than $500,000.
Would you like to explain the difference?
Yeah, that's a little.
It's only
Just a comma
order of
amongst friends,
magnitude,
you know.
yes. So the
Just another
issue
zero.
is that the PG&E has a gas line that is needing to be relocated. It's a very large gas line, and the original discussion for this agreement was that Safeco would reimburse the Corps of Engineers for their contractors' work, and that PG&E would ultimately be responsible and then reimburse Safeco. Initial thoughts was that it would only be excavation and it would be limited to something around under 500,000. Unfortunately, the options that have been identified by the Corps and the contractor have a range much higher than that, up to about $4.5 million. And when we're talking about deep, large gas lines, we want to make sure we have a little bit of room. So we're asking for $5 million. And ultimately, the intent is that PG&E will reimburse Safeco once the project is done.
Okay, when you say ultimately the intent, what's that mean?
Well, the intent is that we will collect.
Okay. Let's be crystal clear.
Yes.
All right, thank you. Any questions? Okay, I do have a speaker's slip on item number 3. Richard Cunha.
And Mr. Chair, I actually did have a comment, actually, it just so happens on item 3 as well, so when you have a chance.
Thank you.
We're okay?
Yes, sir, go ahead.
Good afternoon. My name is Richard Cunha, and I am here with regard to item 3, the request for a $500,000 addition to the law firm Shute et al. I am here on behalf of Kenneth Kyoka, Sandra K. Kyoka Cunha, and family, property owners along East Levee Road. I've been dealing with SAFCA, Army Corps, and various agencies since 2020 with regard to these properties along East Levee Road. I've met and walked the properties with engineers, drainage, and septic specialists, staking people 3 or 4 times. We've spent thousands of dollars on council to protect our property and have attempted to cooperate by meeting and responding with SAFCA and other of the employees and agents of SAFCA, and also with Shute, but very little. An example of the lack of communication is May 2024, we agreed with Shute et al. for a proposed order granting immediate possession of one of our popular properties. However, it was stipulated that no entry onto the property because of our tenants and cattle were to be made without 30-day notice. January 2025, I get a phone call that one of the tenants had observed on 3 different days people in working on a well or waterway of some sort, left a phone number. I called it 3 times, left voicemail messages, and never got a response. I told Mr. Manning, who represents us, of this occurrence. He informed Chute, and to this date, I don't believe we've had a response. Since then, until June 3rd of this year, we've had very little communication with the Chute law firm, except for our response to court filings for hearings, witnesses, and a settlement conference, which on June 3rd took place. Unfortunately, at that conference, the law firm representing Safka Chute used appraisals from a 2022 appraisal, and comp properties, all except one, were clearly out of the county and miles away. Unfortunately, there was no progress made. Now, a perfect example is why I'm here today. After this settlement conference, which went nowhere, Mr. Manning, our counsel, on June 11th, sent the Chute law firm further communications and documents for further settlement discussions. To this day, 2.5 months later, the Dropbox link has not been opened, nor has counsel responded by an email. We and other property owners feel unfairly treated. It's ironic that property owners are assessed to pay Safka. Safka hires counsels, but it's certainly not in our best interest. I'm very concerned, and I believe you should be as well, by the lack of communication, cooperation, realistic input, fairness, and good faith discussions. It's not acceptable to us and continues to cost us, and it's not a manner in which we or any property owner and or member of the public should be treated. I believe this board needs to take these matters in hand and address these issues. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cunha.
Any questions?
Director Desmond.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. No, for you, sir, actually, I just had a question about the item. And I don't know if this would be for counsel or for Jason. Is this firm the exclusive counsel we use to represent us for eminent domain matters?
It is not. In fact, we have multiple contracts, generally in Natomas, because the issues are the same often in that basin. We have been using the same firm to litigate those condemnation efforts. But for instance, in the pocket, we have condemnation efforts going forward with Downey Brand, an alternate.
And then the other, and this has probably been in a lot of contracts, and I haven't noticed it before, but I was just looking at the statement and the board item under measures evaluation. This is a discrete action and will not be subject to long-term evaluation to measure success. Now I understand these would be inherently legal matters we would discuss in closed session, but what does that mean exactly?
You know, it is sort of a standard language we used often in times when it's a contract matter like this. So it doesn't necessarily have any specific meaning other than, you know, individual amendments aren't looked at for success. The general status of the firm and our contentment with their efforts, of course, are reviewed in real time and continuously. Okay, I just want to make sure that that doesn't mean that this board still doesn't reserve the right to evaluate their performance of this contractor or any other contractor. Absolutely, you have that at any time.
Okay.
One thing to clarify too in the comment, you know, this amendment, it does not add any money to the contract. There have been previous amendments that added additional funds to the contract. This amendment in particular is expanding the scope of the contract to account for public contracting. Our public contracting outside counsel has retired and is no longer in practice. So we've used the existing contract and expanded the scope because Chute Mahali also does public contracting.
So it still has the same not to exceed?
Correct.
Okay. All right, any other questions?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second on consent. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstain? Thank you. Next item.
And our next item is the Executive Director's report.
Thank you for coming in, Mr. Cunha.
If I may, I would say before, Dick, you leave, and it's nice to see you, Dick. Please give my regards to your family. We've been neighbors a long time. But obviously, Dick raised some issues that, certainly, I think merit a follow-up discussion, certainly.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Jason Campbell, Deputy, Freudian slip there. Executive Director. A little bit of activity on the federal side as far as appointments as well as change of command. Mr. Adam Tell was confirmed with the Senate back in August, early August, for Assistant Secretary of the Army. He comes from Senator Hagerty's office where he was the Chief of Staff. And prior to that, he worked in the White House for the period of 2019 to 2021. We've also seen a new general come in to the command of the South Pacific Division, which is now located in the 1325 J Street facility. The executive staff is there. So General Lloyd will be the first one to be occupying that space. But General Lloyd comes from the South Pacific Division, where he was the commander of that division, and very big portfolio, as you can see. General Lloyd is happily getting moved in and will be here for probably 3 years. Colonel Robert McTighe, is the new commander for the Sacramento district. Mr. McTighe also is coming from the North Atlantic Division, where he was the deputy commander. He is occupying the space, of course, and very much, I think, getting engaged and working on a number of things with his teams and getting up to speed on the many projects that they have. He was also in the field with us, a couple of slides I'll show you, looking at the Common Features project specifically at the Sacramento Weir. But we're very happy to have these new faces, but we really are in the midst of many project activities and some issues, and we'll be working really closely with all of them. California Senate Bill number 639 is still active. Unfortunately, it was also put on suspense yesterday. Hopefully, it will hit the suspense calendar next week or before the 29th, and ultimately get to the assembly floor and make its way over to the governor's desk. Again, the deadline is September 18th, so we're hopeful that that does move forward. Another general visited as well. So again, Major General Kimberly Colleton, who is the Deputy Chief of Engineers for the Army Corps of Engineers in headquarters. She visited the projects. She was going to be here for some meetings and a change of command, but she also wanted to make sure that we have some issues that are taking place with some work that's at the Sacramento Weir on one of the abutments. They wanted to show that they were very much engaged and wanting to make sure that we understood that they are going to make this right and get things fixed. Unfortunately, there's going to be a little bit of a slip in schedule on the weir itself, but if you go out there again, I think I've mentioned this last month as well, project is moving very well. The structures that are going on out there are massive, and the formwork and the work that they're doing is pretty impressive. Our partners in the field, Granite Construction and others, are doing a great job. Continuing on the American River, this is the field trip. You can see on the left, the team is up at the top of that abutment looking to see what kind of activity is happening with the some of the concrete moving, which is not necessarily what we like to see, especially on an abutment. And then on the picture on the right, you can also see everybody's looking up at the same thing, just from a different perspective. Very interesting discussion. Again, the crew that was out there was pretty robust, from headquarters, from division, from the district, from congressional offices, and of course, state staff and ourselves. This is just the rest of that structure that's being constructed just south of that abutment. You can see a lot of big, heavy concrete, lots of fun work to look at. You go out there on the old Levee Road, you'll see that it's really quite an impressive site. So again, just wanted to give a quick update, and we have a lot of new faces here, and it seems to be that that's happening everywhere, and we're happy, including me, happy to make sure that we're keeping things moving forward. Any questions?
Any questions? I'll just say, if there's any board member, you remind me that there are some newer board members. If there's any board members who haven't had an opportunity to go look at the work that's being done in YOLO, in particular, it'll blow you away. I guess if you're a flood nerd, and also some of the other work that's being done in the American River. If you haven't had an opportunity, contact staff because it's very helpful to get your eyes on it and get a tour if you have an opportunity. So,
Thank you.
all right, thank you, sir. That takes us to the end of our agenda. Our next meeting is September 18th. We are adjourned.